Hey folks, it's Matt once again. Welcome back to another review. This time of 1408. Film that came out in 2007, which was a box office hit and a critical hit. And I enjoyed this back in 2007 when I first saw it. Didn't catch it in theaters, but I caught it on home video. And still enjoy. I think this holds up very well. It's a good old-fashioned ghost story. Sorry for that pause there. I was trying to figure out how to put it. But yeah, it's a simple, straightforward ghost story about a guy stuck in a room and all this crazy shit happening to him. And that's part of the appeal to me. Also, I think these two did a great job, especially John Cusack. Easily think this is one of his best performances. I would say this is one of my favorite films of his, because John Cusack I like. I like him in Con Air, I like him in Better Off Dead, and One Crazy Summer. I enjoy him as an actor. I reviewed a film he starred in called 2012, and one of the reasons I enjoyed that was because he was the star of it. Of course, the next film we're going to talk about, which has these two in it, and is based on a Stephen King story called Cell, that's a piece of shit. You know what? I'll wait for that. But this is, really enough, well directed by Michael Halfstrom. I say really enough because this guy's work after this has not been my cup of tea. He did The Right with Anthony Hopkins, which I thought was a piece of... It was boring as hell, exorcism movie with Anthony Hopkins. And then he did A Steep Plan with Arnold and Sly, and that was incredibly disappointing and showed none of the directing talent that he had in this. And the story... John Cusack's character, you find out later, he had a wife, he had a kid, his kid died, his daughter was sick, and he's like, why the hell would a god take a little girl? So he does this thing where he goes from haunted place to haunted place, and what he does, he stays overnight to see if anything weird happens. And he's a writer of these ghost survival guides, the top 10 most haunted blanks. And he'll write about the history of the place and what the room's like and if anything happened. But so far, nothing. He's even in this little shop trying to sell books. And a couple people are there, and he goes, well, I'm just saying I've never seen one. He's never seen a ghost, so he's a bit of a skeptic. And is thinking most of the time these guys, they just say their place is haunted for the tourist business to go up. And I like the idea of a person going from haunted place to haunted place to see if they're haunted or not. I mean, he's a ghost hunter. And he had written this other book long ago, and you can tell that was more of a personal book. One thing leads to another, gets his postcard about not to enter room 1408. He finds out what the place is with the help of his editor, played by Tony Shalhoub. I totally forgot Tony Shalhoub was in this. He has a very tiny role, but he's in this. And Sam Jackson is the manager of this hotel. And Sam Jackson does whatever he can to tell John Cusack not to take the room because of all the deaths that's been in there. He believes it's haunted. And he's like, I'll give you a nicer room for free. I'll give you a room that looks the same. You could write about that. I'll give you this bottle of expensive alcohol for free. Do not go into 1408. And they don't share many scenes together, which is one of the disappointments of Cell, because in Cell, they're in it together for most of the movie, and that movie is horrible. And I know these guys can work together well, because they share like one scene together. And it's a great scene where John Cusack is talking about, yeah, I know you're trying to sell that spook house bullshit, and they discuss the deaths. And then Sam Jackson goes, what about the natural deaths? And Cusack's like, natural deaths? Yeah, this guy had a heart attack, this guy drowned in the soup. And they work really well together in this scene. And I love John Cusack's line of, listen, I know that ghoulies and ghosties and long-legged beasties don't exist. So give me my room. And then Sam Jackson's like, well, I gotta tell you, it's an evil fucking room. And I think they play off each other very well. And You have a nice build-up of John Cusack opening the key and sort of POV of the key going in. It's an old-fashioned key, and then he goes in. He does this little thing with his cigarette. He doesn't smoke anymore, but he'll put like a cigarette on the side of like an ashtray. Yeah, I guess he said if one day this happens, he'll take a smoke. He'll be like, he's describing the room on his tape recorder, and that's where the shit hits the fan. And that's what I love. It's such a simple but cool idea for a story. I've never read the story by Stephen King, and I like a lot of Stephen King adaptations. I do. I love The Shining by Stanley Kubrick, The Dead Zone, Cujo, Christine by John Carpenter. I love Maximum Overdrive. I do. I'm sorry. I love Emilio Estevez, Bazookas, AC/DC, a Green Goblin truck, steamrollers going over kids, vending machines killing people. All to the beat of AC/DC. That's my kind of movie. I also love Stephen King's Graveyard Shift, Misery, The Shawshank Redemption. There's a lot of them I enjoy. Cat's Eye, and I think this is another good one. But again, I've never read the story, so I don't know all the differences or whatnot. I just like the idea of being stuck in this one room and all this crazy shit happening. The idea is a simple but cool idea to me. That's people are like, why does that idea entice you so much? It's always cool to see a claustrophobic setting, like one building, one room, whether going back to Dawn of the Dead and the mall, whether it be going back to John Carpenter's The Thing, they're stuck in that one outpost. Assault on Precinct 13, where they're stuck in that one police station and they can't get out, but this wave is coming in. Here you're stuck in this one room, and you have the radio going on. You have him, chocolates on his pillow appear. He teared a little bit of his toilet paper, and then when he comes back, it's there again. So it's like subtle stuff at first. And then, talking about the directing, one instance of pretty cool directing, and the way he did this is, John Cusack is looking with his UV light, and he'll look over one part of the room, and like a picture of a dead person that was a previous victim appears. And then he's going over here, and then the picture of whatever dead person was there. And it's hard to describe, but the way it was done, I thought that was a really nice touch. And, you know, the radio starts fucking up. It starts clocking down from an hour. His hearing gets affected, where he can barely hear. He's looking out the window comes down, smacks his hand. And he tries to use water, and the hot water burns him. And I like this. Then, boom, he wants to leave. It's not this, I must investigate shit. It's like, okay, the radio turns on, haha, yeah, okay, you got me. Chocolate on my pillows, well, must be a fast guy. But as soon as his hand gets smacked, and then the water burns him, boom, he wants to get out of there. And I like that. It's not like, I must investigate it, I must stay here for another hour. No, he's like, fuck this, I want to leave. And he can't leave. And the room won't let him leave. I like this bit that he sees across the way, and it's a person, but the person starts mimicking him, and he sees a version of himself. There's a moment where he goes outside trying to get to another window, then all the windows have disappeared everywhere. And he gets back to the room now as everything has brick walls. He goes to a bathroom. He sees his dad in a wheelchair. He looks at the TV. It shows video footage of him and his family, his daughter. Blood dripping through the walls. At one point, he goes into the vent, and then a corpse is trying to attack him in the vent. It's like utilizing all elements of the room. It's like, okay, we gotta get some cold, so now it's getting ready to freeze to death. Later on, starting the fire, and the fire burns up. There's this thing with water. He almost drowns. The room trying to fuck with his head. What you think is real, but it's not really real. The room doesn't. I guess I could kind of I actually like this idea. I think some people think it's a stupid idea. But he's going on his computer, and he goes on the internet, and he's able to contact his wife. And people are like, well, why the hell would the room be able to... It's one of those things that the way they structure the room and the history, it seems like it can't really do anything to you. It's, you're stuck here until you commit suicide. Or you die of natural causes. And I guess other than, you know, when it smacked his hand, it's pretty much just... That's what it seems the gist idea from this room is, that it's trying to fuck with you. And even when the room ends, the clock starts again, and he gets a phone call, and this voice says, well, you could use our checkout, or you could relive the next hour again. And it's, again, the room sort of trying to make you commit suicide. I guess that's his MO. But this is something he brought from the outside, his laptop, so he's able to contact her, but still, you know, use a sprinkler to fuck it up, and then it's able to fuck with it because he's taught. I like this bit. I think eventually he's able to deal with this because he's talking, but his monitor that shows himself is saying something else. So he's like, you know, you don't come here, blah blah blah, send help. But then his other self is telling her, yeah, come in, come to the room, and it's at this floor, it's this room, and you know, come on in. I need your help personally. You've always been there for me. And meanwhile, the real Q is like, stop it, you know, don't listen to him. And so now, and I like that because now it brings an outside suspense to it, where it's not just strictly selfish reasons to get out. It's he doesn't want his... Granted, because of the daughter dying, they kind of broken up, but he still loves her, and he's like, I don't want this to happen to her. You can't have her. And so that leads to, you know, what else can he do? John Cusack did a great job. There's one thing where he thinks he's seen Sam Jackson, and he's like, I want my drink! Or when the room is trying to get his wife up there, he's on the phone with the room in a way, and he's like, you can't have her. No, listen. I'm done arguing. Just hangs up, and the phone melts, and he's like, you know what, I live selfish, but I'm not going to die selfish. And he's going to take the room out to save his wife. On the Creep Factor, I give you this room a 10, and burns the place up. Feeling, wow, you're going to spoilers now. But this is a film from 10 years ago, and I always do that. It's a film from 10 years ago. Mainly I do these reviews for people who have seen the film, not people who haven't seen the film. Because if you look at the title, you look at the synopsis at the beginning, the setup, then you say, hey, maybe I should go see it. Or, you know, hey, what's this room, 1408? And then look at the trailer, and then watch the movie before you see my review. That's how I always look at it. I know there were alternate endings, and the reason I'm positive is I'm trying to think. There was something... The Blu-ray, if you get the Blu-ray, it has a different ending. And this DVD has the ending I enjoy. I believe there's a 2-disc DVD of this, where it's 2 versions of the film. One is this version, and the other is the version that's on the Blu-ray. So they shot an original ending. The original ending was a bit more sad, and so they shot another ending, which is this is my favorite ending. And the ending on this DVD, and I think it's one of the 2 versions on the 2-disc, is he survives, he's with his wife, the wreckage. There's the tape recorder. He plays it. The voice of his daughter appears, and his wife hears it. So it proves that he wasn't just crazy. That something did happen. I enjoy that ending. I like the way it ended. I thought it was the best ending for it. Some people don't like it. Some people felt it was out of place. I disagree. I don't think Cusack's character needed to die. He did the act of trying to sacrifice himself to save his wife, I think earned him a pass. Give him a break. His daughter died of being sick. He survived the room for an hour. I think he deserves to live on a moral way. And also a little reminder of, yes, there is something after it. That's what he's been searching for. And maybe now that they know there is something after this and there's proof, they can move on. So I think it ends the story fine. Now, the ending on the Blu-ray and the director's cut, which is one of the two versions on the 2-disc DVD, is he does die, and I think like Sam Jackson's at the funeral with the wife, and I think Tony Shalhoub's there, and Sam Jackson tries to give the possessions of his Cusack's possessions to the wife. Still one of my worst times. I'm trying to remember. Because I only saw it one time, that ending. He gets in a car. He sees the burnt version of Cusack behind him, which scares Sam. Then Sam Jackson sees like a random kid and a father going off. And then it cuts to the room, burned up room. Cusack is a ghost. He hears his daughter. He turns, he walks away. He fades away. And that's the ending the directors prefer. That's the ending. That's all. If you get the Blu-ray, that's the only ending on there. And that pisses me off. Because I'm like, man, I like to see what this looks like in HD, but it doesn't have, it only has that, in my opinion, shitty ending. It doesn't have the ending that's on this. Right, you get the 2-disc, which has this and the director's cut, but I already have the DVD, so I don't understand. We have the capability of Blu-ray. Put both versions. If you put both versions on a 2-disc DVD, why don't you put... And I know there's other little differences in the director's cut, but that's the main one I remember, that different ending. And it's like, why don't you put both versions on the Blu-ray? Why do you only have one version on the Blu-ray? You have a fucking 2-disc DVD that has 2 versions of the film, but the Blu-ray, which can hold more information, you only put one version of the film. It's not even the film that was released in theaters and on this DVD. It's a different director's cut version. So you only have the director's cut on Blu-ray with a different ending. You don't have the original cut. That's like when they did that Friday the 13th box set Blu-ray, and they only put, well, it's not the same company, but they only have the R-rated cut of Jason Goes to Hell on Blu-ray. And yeah, 99% of the people may hate Jason Goes to Hell, but I'm one of the 1%, and the unrated cut is better. So why is only the R-rated cut on Blu-ray and not the unrated cut? You put the better version... No, you take the lesser version and you put that on Blu-ray, and the better version you leave off. Of course, better version is in the eye of the beholder, but that's my eye saying it. It's my eye looking down saying that's bullshit. Put both versions on the fucking Blu-ray. That's why I will never buy the Blu-ray, because it's bullshit. Put both fucking versions on it. So again, if you ever wanting to buy this film, if you like that ending and you want the director's cut and you want the bit of a sadder ending, that's the Blu-ray. If you want the bit more upper ending, you either gotta find this DVD, or I believe the 2-disc has both versions. Disc 1 is one and disc 1 is the other. You do a little bit of research to double check, but I think that's the case. So a little bit rant on that bullshit with the Blu-rays. But the movie itself, I enjoy. I think it went at a good pace. I was not bored by it. Maybe some people, the idea of being stuck in a room for a good chunk of time would be boring. I did not find that. It was a bunch of different stuff happening, and it was one thing after the other. And it's like, what's next going to happen to this poor guy in this room? I thought it was well directed. I thought John Cusack gave a great performance. Yeah, I think it was a well-told, good old-fashioned ghost story, and it was handled very well. I liked a lot of the stuff that was happening. You know, at one point he hears his baby crying, and then it gets louder and louder and louder. It really keeps going. It's like when you think it's one thing is overplayed, they throw something else at you. Then they throw something else at you. Then they throw something else at you. I definitely agree with these reviews. Roller coaster of a head trip. Psychologically thrilling movie that leaves you gasping in the end. Well, not gasping in the end. Maybe not that, but I was happy, satisfied with the ending. A carefully crafted thriller. If you're wondering, not many features, just a couple minutes. John Cusack in 1408, in very few minutes. Inside Room 1408, again, just a couple minutes, and a trailer. But yeah, great movie. Not many people talk about this film, which is too bad. And it's weird that this is 10 years old already. This is 10 years old. 2007. Wow. That's crazy. 10 years old. But either way, great film. If I did a top 10 ghost story movies, I would put it in my top 10 ghost story movies. With John Carpenter's The Fog, and The Changeling, and Stephen King's The Shining, and some others. But yeah, it would definitely be in there. But thanks for watching my thoughts on 1408. And next up, I will watch well, I've already watched it. I will rant, because it's a horrible movie. The next time these guys got together for a Stephen King adaptation called Cell. Yeah, I could think of another 4-letter word. It's not even fuck. It's called puke. Just what I felt like after watching Cell. But stick with 1408. Much better than Cell. But I'll get to that. See you guys later.